In 1965, a single piece of legislation reshaped American democracy, the Voting Rights Act. This landmark law broke down centuries of racial barriers, ensuring that every citizen, regardless of race, could exercise their fundamental right to vote. But the road to this act was long, violent, and filled with sacrifice. In this video, we'll explore the events that led to its passage, its immediate impact, and why it remains one of the most important civil rights laws in U.S. history. After the Civil War, the 15th Amendment granted African American men the right to vote. But by the late 1800s, Southern states devised ways to suppress this right through poll taxes, literacy tests, and intimidation tactics like violence from the Ku Klux Klan. By the 1960s, only a fraction of eligible black voters in the South were registered. The civil rights movement recognized that without political power, progress would remain limited. The fight for voting rights became a central part of the civil rights movement. Groups like the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, SCLC, and the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, SNCC, organized voter registration drives in places where racism was most entrenched. In 1964, activists launched Freedom Summer in Mississippi, facing violence and even murder while registering African American voters. The nation's attention turned toward the South as images of brutality shocked the public. The turning point came in Selma, Alabama, in 1965. Activists organized a march from Selma to Montgomery to demand voting rights. On March 7th, known as Bloody Sunday, peaceful marchers were brutally attacked by state troopers as they attempted to cross the Edmund Pettus Bridge. The images of tear gas, clubs, and blood shocked the nation. Among the marchers was John Lewis, who suffered a fractured skull during the attack. The violence galvanized public opinion and pushed President Lyndon B. Johnson to act. On March 15, 1965, President Johnson addressed Congress declaring, "We shall overcome," echoing the anthem of the civil rights movement. Just months later, on August 6, 1965, he signed the Voting Rights Act into law. The act banned literacy tests, provided federal oversight of voter registration in states with histories of discrimination, and gave the federal government power to ensure fair elections. It was a major victory for the civil rights movement. The effects were immediate. Thousands of African Americans registered to vote within weeks of the act's passage. In states like Mississippi, black voter registration soared from just 6% in 1964 to nearly 60% by 1968. The Voting Rights Act also paved the way for African Americans to run for office, reshaping local, state, and national politics. The Voting Rights Act is often called the most effective piece of civil rights legislation ever passed, but its protections have faced challenges. In 2013, the Supreme Court's Shelby County versus Holder decision struck down parts of the law, leading to new state-level voting restrictions. The fight for fair access to the ballot box continues today, with debates over voter ID laws, mail-in ballots, and gerrymandering echoing the struggles of the past. The Voting Rights Act of 1965 was a triumph of courage, sacrifice, and relentless activism. It reminds us that democracy only works when every voice is heard. What lessons do you think we can learn from the struggle for voting rights? Let's discuss in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into history.